Want to take this opportunity and thank you and welcome you for joining us here at the Greenwood campus at the House of Reconciliation, and for those that are participating from the Greenville campus, and of course to all of our virtual campus partners and members. We thank you for this time and opportunity. We will not, as they say, prolong your time. What I want to talk to you tonight about is a couple things. One, I want to thank everybody who has contributed to our challenge that we had in Haiti and stepping up and helping one of our sisters, our ambassador to Haiti, for her and her family, as well as for those who were contributed and continuing to contribute to the food bank. Want to give a special thanks out to, I just made him our compassion team leader for the food bank because he's passionate about it, and that is Brother Titus Cohen, how he has been able to go out in the community, and where the community could go to the Greenwood Food Bank, people trust him and have enough confidence and see his passion. So I don't have a problem with recognizing people. And for all those that have contributed, we are going to start a campaign for Haiti because we're receiving pictures of clothing and things and helping not only local. We're going to go back and try to, I think school is probably out, but in the fall, adopt some more elementary schools to do things. So I always say to people, you're more than welcome as we are coming through this pandemic. Many are getting vaccinated. I encourage you to consider it, have something to fight with various strands. Don't believe everything that you hear from the internet and social media. Talk to a professional, talk to a pharmacist, talk to a doctor, talk to a nurse, go to the hospital and say, hey, I want to know about this. I want to know what are the pros and cons, because truly we want to get back to some type of normalcy. And in saying that, I encourage you, and I'm very ecstatic about those that are coming and new people that are visiting the ministry. Don't hesitate. We're at 210 Pansy Road, Hodges, South Carolina. Please come and visit us every Sunday at 10:45. We have prayer. Worship begins around 11, and we're normally done by 12 to 12:15. If you're in the Greenville area, it's 1427, I believe, Suite E, Lawrence Road. It's a white building right across from the old Maserati dealership, right there beside BMW Motorcycle Sports. Come to the building, Suite E. We're there every Sunday morning from 8:30 until 9:45. Please join us if you are one of our virtual campus members and you're in Greenville or you're in the surrounding area. Please don't hesitate to visit us in Hodges or see us in Greenville. And I'm so ecstatic to see faces that we haven't seen for a while. So we are grateful for that. Many opportunities as we begin to build out the ministry. What I want to talk to you tonight about, and go ahead and give you the subject matter, is stop the drowning. And this comes out of Proverbs 29 and 25 in an NIV version. And we touched on it briefly on Sunday. Was, why would you use a topic, stop the drowning? Sometimes it's not so much that you have leaks in your bucket. Sometimes you're in a leaky lake. And what that means is your environment, your culture, your job, your family, your friends, many times are not supporting you, but oftentimes judging you. And this is something that's really interesting. People will hold you to a standard that they themselves can't keep. So when we talk about the new series, Conflict at the Cliff, we talked about in the beginning of closing the circle. And I want to get us prepared to understand how did we get to the cliff in our life, because every one of us has a fork in the road. Every one of us are going to meet new challenges, not only economically, but also socially, also financially, and also personal. There's not an area of your life or my life that life will not touch. This comes back out of the book of John 15, I believe in 2, where the Lord talks about he will cut every branch in me that does not produce fruit. We have to understand that sometimes we are drowning not because God is against us, is sometimes we are against our own transition to becoming what God would have us to be. I've said this and I've seen not resistance, but I've seen some kind of blank stares. Is God has invested in you. God has a stake in you. You are God's greatest creation. You're not a thorn in his side. You're not a mistake. You're not a burden. But sometime, as a child of God and people of humanity, we make bad and difficult decisions. Not because we didn't know what to do, but what we were pressured to do. So Peter Duckett says it this way, and I'll use his thought: the greatest danger in turbulent times, and no one is exempt. Not I, not you, not your family member, not our grandparents, not our parents. No one is exempt from turbulent times. You cannot live a life and never have challenges. You will either have them in your health, you will either have them in communication and relationship with your family or friends or neighbors or employees, employers, or you will have them in your personal mind. There's always a battle in the mind. So Peter Duckett says it this way: the greatest danger in turbulent times is not the turbulent. Your greatest challenge is not the problem. Our greatest challenge is not the problem. Our greatest challenge is not to act in our feelings and emotions to every challenge. I'll say that again. Our greatest challenge is not in the turbulence. It's not in the problem. It's in our reaction to the problem. Because many times we're responding, as Peter Duckett says, the biggest danger to turbulent times is to act with yesterday's knowledge. Here's what this is meaning. At some point in your life and my life, we have to stop responding to things and our feelings and emotions, anger, being a victim, having something to prove, getting even, striking back, pride. Pride is a big one. You don't know which way to go, you don't know where to turn, but you have too much pride to ask for help. That, my brothers and sisters, that to the new believer, that to the established believer, is an act of yesterday's knowledge. I'll give you another one. We cannot be successful today and in the future if we don't know how to work as a team. It's like a chain. Every link matters. I want you to write that. Every link matters. Every team member matters. And where at this moment and at this time, you may be the strongest link, but then the situation will change. Neither you or I may not have the skill set to meet that moment. So being codependent on your teammate is not a bad thing. Sometimes your health, same thing in sports. Sometimes the best player cannot be on the field this game. And if the best player does not know how to encourage and connect and share with the backup or the other teammate, now the team has a greater chance of not being at its best. So here's the thing. I want you to know that one of the real reasons is in Proverbs 29 and 25, and I like what this says: you don't drown by falling in the water. You drown by staying there. And what I literally want you and I to do, and to the virtual campus and to those that are listening from Greenville and across the nation, is stop fearing conflict in your life. Stop fearing it. Stop the drowning. The quote says, don't drown. You don't drown by falling in the water. You drown by staying there. Yesterday's knowledge has little to nothing to do with this moment in your life. And remember, I shared this with the audience. We're not going to win every moment in life. The goal is winning at life. There's going to be a time, there's going to be a season, there's going to be a moment that you and I will not be at our best. And we're going to need that is the help and the guidance of other people. Open your mind to greater information. Here is what I wrote. Why? Why is it that you have to change? Why is it? Transition is never easy. Because many times we're stuck, as Proverbs 29 and 25 says, because we're seeking the approval of other people. There are people who are looking to fit in. If you wake up today and you're blessed to wake up tomorrow, you fit in God's plan. The problem is not the destiny. The problem is the mechanical behavior and the thought process that we have. And I'll make it even plainer. The problem is not today. The problem is who you have to deal with today. And what happens is we're dealing with people based on how we feel. We are dealing with people based on the situation. We are dealing with people through our feelings, emotions, our pain, our regrets, our denial, and our ability to want to be accepted. I'm going to say this and put me back up on the screen. I want you to accept right now on the 8th of June that you're not going to be everybody's favorite. You're not going to be everybody's pick. Your milkshake will not bring everybody to the yard. Because some of y'all still think y'all fly. Okay? The fly has flown. You have to understand that where you're going is a transitional period in your life, and there are some unknowns. And one of the things that people are not taking into the unknown is trust. You want everything to change around you, but you don't want to change. You want to get even with everybody who said something, did something, plotting something, wanting to do something. You want to get even with them. But here's the thing. Getting even with them does not give you a winning ticket. Neither does it stop them or him or he or she or they from being a buckethead. There's some things you have to say and make up your mind that I'm saying goodbye to. Stop the drowning. You want it to change, you need to move on. You want them to accept you. If you're trying to win the acceptance of people, sometimes they don't even accept themselves. But they'll manipulate you to make you think that you need to win their approval. Here's the dynamic to that. You're both living off of God's breath. So who's better? You both have an expiration on your free oxygen. Is the correct word? How do you say? Okay, thank you, because I just tore it up. So who's better than you? I saw this in the golf world. A guy said they were beefing, and one guy rolled his eyes. Now, how old is that? And the other guy says, I am so glad that I'm living in your head for free. I want to ask you, who and what is living in your head and in your mind? Now watch this. That's not paying dividends to you today or your future. Who's living in your head? There are people that's drowning you because you can't find you because you're trying to be everything. And I need to find that quote. Many times we're trying to be everything to people and we wind up being nothing to ourselves. Show that again. I want to see what that was. Finding oneself while what? Finding oneself. Finding oneself. Approval addiction. See, because we look at addiction as someone who is on narcotics, someone who is burdened, someone who has issues, someone who's doing drugs, but we don't understand trying to get the approval of other people can also be an addiction. Trying to be accepted when you should already know that you belong. And people will drown you in their wants. People will drown you in their pain. People will make you a part of their nightmare. Their unhappiness will spread into you, and now you feel trapped. Many of us are carrying an unnecessary burden. We're trying to hold up people who are not trying to hold up themselves. Why let people set a standard for you that they don't have for themselves? The Bible says the fear of man will prove to be a snare. How did we get to a cliff? How did we miss the warning signs? Why did we stay too long? Why did we let it take our prime away from us? Can I tell you why? Because we thought we owed somebody something. And because of the broken glass in your life and my life, we don't feel fresh and renewed. We feel like second-class citizens. So we don't put our finances in things that will provocate for you and I to be successful down the road. We're busy trying to show people I'm okay, or look at me today. So we're begging for acceptance. Because we don't want people to see our flaws and our brokenness. We don't want people to see us going in the chrysalis. We don't want people to know that we're being persecuted. We don't want people to see our crucifixion, but yet our Lord Jesus Christ was crucified and persecuted before the world. And you tell me that he gave his life for people who are still standing on a mite. He says, I come that you might have life. He gave his life for you and I to have a degree in fear. He took persecution day and night, from one court to the next court. He was ridiculed through social media because he fed people who were hungry. He was criticized for healing the sick and not charging. And yet you and I feel as a believer that we owe the world so much and owe God nothing. Fear of man. What does it say? Needing approval.
Like saying your view of me is more important than my own opinion of myself.
Yeah. Needing approval. It's helped me. I'm uncomfortable when I'm in a crowd of people. Listen, they breathing on God's air just like you. They may have better English, but they don't have a better way. This is a time that for you and I to reflect in the month of conflict and difficulties. You can take me out because I'm gonna work with this. This is a time for you and I to understand. You wasn't broken because you didn't have value. Your brokenness doesn't mean that you don't have value. People have forgotten you. People left your name off. It isn't so much, and I'll give it to you this way. You nor I can control disappointment. You or I are going to fail at some point in time. You and I are not going to get it right all the time. I want you to write this if you're writing. We are not perfect. We're not. It's okay to say I'm sorry. It's okay to say forgive me. It's okay to say I made a mistake. It's okay to say I forgot. It's okay to say I don't understand. Show me, tell me, share with me. I tell people all the time, teach me as if though I'm a child. It's okay to not feel great every day. It's okay to be in the tunnel. It's okay. Because let me tell you something, God has not forgotten you. He said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. So here's what I want to close on, because we started just a tad bit early. This is why you hear me talk about the first season, closing the circle. The second season, don't gamble with your future. Don't gamble with your inheritance. Don't gamble with your children's future. Because there's an entity out there that wants you to feel as if though you have nothing. And you're not worth nothing. So you're drowning. We're drowning socially. We're drowning economically. We're drowning educationally. We're drowning in our communities. We're not taking care of our health. We're drowning in so many parts of our life. We're drowning and connecting and sharing. Because let me share something with you. That's just where the enemy wants you. In doubt, in worry, in failure, and in denial. And I'm here to tell you that God has not forgotten you. And God has not given up on you. The Bible says, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. There's some things and some points in our life we're going to feel like we are dying. But be not dismayed. God has not forgotten you. He knows every pain, every burden, every enemy that you're going to face. So don't give up. This moment at the cliff isn't to destroy you. This conflict at the cliff series isn't to tell you how bad you are. You got enough of that. This is an old series that I taught. This is the beginning of a turning point in your life. That ain't prophecy. But here's what we missed the last time. Anybody feel like you missed some things? I want you to write this one simple word down. Prep. Stop looking at the cliff. This is a time to slow down and prep yourself. Because to come off of whatever cliff that you're in, it's going to take a couple things. Thought-provoking checking. You got to check how you think. You have to check how you respond. And one of the things that people say to me, and I hear it quite often, you don't have any feelings, you don't have any emotions, you don't feel. Oh, I do feel. But my feelings are not needed in this situation. What's needed is my spiritual intellect, my spiritual intelligence, my natural intellect, and my natural intelligence. So this is a time where you and we're going to evolve away from the fighting within ourselves. We're going to learn these three things. Is it God developing me? Is it me in a fight with me? Or is it the enemy trying to keep me from sowing my seeds and discovering my identity? You're not broken. Broken things don't work. I'm going to leave you with this, and I want you to put that one slide back up. No, the other one. I want you to know this. You are being recalibrated. You and I are being restructured. Don't fear the changes that God is getting ready to make in you. Don't be afraid of the things that are getting ready to exit your life, but start prepping yourself. Because here's danger number one. Needing approval is like saying your view of me is more important than my own. We can show the next slide, my own opinion of myself. The one you had where there were the two gentlemen. Stop letting your emotions, your failures, your undecisiveness dictate to you. Because people will dictate to you to control your outcome, but you won't even know what their outcome is. So in this picture, what's wrong is lift your head and you will change your atmosphere. Lift your eyes unto the hills and talk to your Creator. Watch this. Talk to your Creator, not your controller. Talk to your Creator and not your controller. And see if you cannot establish a communication link with your source in life. God bless you. I look to see you soon.